Hi there. Join me today in learning how to make these beautiful paper stars. Welcome back to the Everyday Artisan. I'm Jackie, and today we're going to be making these lovely paper stars. These stars were inspired by the images from the James Webb Space Telescope, and if you haven't seen those pictures yet, please be sure to go check out NASA, link below in the description. They're spectacular. Colors and stars and nebula and galaxies, so much perfection in this universe. But that word, perfection, it took me down a wormhole. Yeah, I said it, wormhole. The wormhole of perfection is that perfection and procrastination become intertwined always. There's a cycle. We all have so much to do. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, which then leads to anxiety. Are we going to get it done? Are we going to get it done well, or, God forbid, perfectly? That goes over to, don't do anything, you might fail. And then that sweeps up to shame and anxiety over not getting it done, and we end up at the top of the loop again, starting the cycle over and over again. So today I want to offer a way through crafting that might help you recognize or even break the cycle by taking small steps. First thing is that we can lower the bar. This little craft here has been done with children as young as 4 or 5 and as old as teens, adults, and seniors even. And everyone has produced something that they're super happy with. Children can inspire us. Take the jump, plunge in. Doesn't matter what the result looks like. Have fun. Just get started. Second thing, there is the law of diminishing returns. Literally, you could spend 2 hours making one of these paper stars or spend 10 minutes, and both will get lovely results. The perfection that you're looking for in your own work, most people aren't paying attention to. They're caught often, all too often, in their own cycle of perfectionism and procrastination. So putting the time in doesn't need to be a great big deal. So people worry about, oh, it's going to take so much time. Truth is, most crafts don't take that much time if you do them step by step. Small steps always are the key. Small steps and small accomplishments are way better than no steps and no accomplishments every single time. The reward is truly waiting for you at the end of a bunch of tiny steps. For when you even take small movement in the direction that you're trying to go, you get this wonderful feedback loop. You feel good, and you definitely feel better than taking no steps at all. And you can build upon them and take another step and another step and another step. And then all of a sudden you end up with something beautiful. That telescope didn't appear out of thin air. It was built on many small steps, all the way from Copernicus and Galileo to today. So let's get started and make some paper stars. All right, let's begin. So I have here 3 different colors and 3 different proportions. If you look at these closely, this one is kind of a traditional picture frame proportion. This one's a little more of a golden rectangle proportion. And this is a similar but much larger size than this one. And we end up with 8 of each style. And I cut them using a very thin knife. And I'm very careful folding them in half in doing that, and just keep slicing them apart. Okay, so we're going to start with what I call the basic fold. So with each one of them, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can work off the basic fold to create 3 very different stars. So every one of them starts with just a fold in half, like a paper airplane or a boat. Back when you were little, paper boats, and all of them a nice crease with your fingernail or with a popsicle stick or a bone folder is always nice. And we will go and fold it down like you do a boat or an airplane. Nice sharp edges. You notice I continually use my fingernail to make it nice and crisp because that is a nice effect on them. And you'll see there's a little gap there. Not going to worry too much about it because perfection is not the goal. Good enough is good enough. And I've made these with children as young as 5 or 6 and all the way through adults. And there's a precision that is good to practice, but perfection is not necessary, like so many things in life. If we hold off and wait till we can do it perfectly, we never get anywhere. So I like to think about that. So here's a basic fold, done. Okay, we're going to put that one aside. We're going to build on the basic fold. So we start exactly the same. Okay, so you can see now we've got our 3 basic folds. So this one we're going to assemble, and I'll do that in a moment. All of them are going to be folded just like this, and when they're layered on top of each other, like so, they'll all stack up and they create these pretty kind of layers that end up, the light shining through them is quite lovely. So we will assemble them all just like that. With this one, we're going to take, and for each of the corners, we're going to fold them in. So we're going to take this corner here, and we're going to fold it inward, centering this point on this line. And we're going to do that to all 4 corners. So you want to be careful. See how that's off to one side, or that's more centered. You want to make it as centered as possible. So now we have these little triangles popping through in the highlight, and when they're layered, they will give us a different effect. So then this third one is much bigger. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one like this, and then I'm going to show you one more fold. So if we look at this, this is going to be the inner part of my star, and this will be the outer part of my star. So I'm going to fold it in like I did the yellow one, carefully centering that point as best I can. You know, best I can is good enough. So that's my inner corner. Then my outer corner, I'm going to take and I'm going to fold like I would a paper airplane, a second fold. I'm going to fold that in. And I'm going to fold this side in, close as possible. So this has some real layering going on. You can't quite see it. Trying to see if we can catch the light through it. But the ends will be quite dark because there's a number of layers there. And the inside will have a neat geometric design that will be quite neat as well. So right now I'm going to take, I've got my 3 here, and I'm going to take my pile of red, my pile of yellow, and my pile of violet, and I'm going to fold them all up. So for this last one, I'm going to show you a little trick on how I sometimes use glue stick to help me keep the papers nice and flat while I'm folding it, and it increases the precision in it and just makes it sometimes a little easier to fold. So I go ahead and I do my basic 4 folds. And then I fold it in, and just to hold it down, but I take and I put a little bit of glue on this side, kind of holding it down, and a little bit of glue. And if you notice, I press the glue stick against my thumb, and that creates a nice, enough glue on there without getting it all over your table. So a little bit more, there we go. So then it holds that nice and down for the next folds. So we'll do this side real quick. down the center. Open up my little flap, put a little glue in there, fold it back down. Then put another bit of glue onto that, and look at, I got a little clump in there. I just kind of squeeze it out and put it off to the side. The clumps are just make it a little bulkier. It's not going to hurt anything. So now this is super secure down on this side, so when I do the other folds, I can glue in there as well. And now I have a very secure piece that when I'm folding this last fold, nothing slides around on me. And I can go like that. And give them a little swipe as well. Against a finger, again, it just prevents you from getting glue all over your table. And it's just super easy. Like that. So now we have, if you notice, this one is much more flimsy and it's open, whereas this one is much more stable. And now I will show you how to glue them up real quick, and then we'll have fun assembling them. So this is where it starts to get fun. When we start to assemble them, we start to get all these pretty overlapping parts where we'll start to create some pretty geometries. So there's the red one, and here's the yellow one. The fancier folds get, the fancier the geometries get. So when we assemble them, there's always an inner corner and an outer corner. And with these here that we're doing, it's pretty simple because they're all identical compared to the purple one. We would call this the inner corner and that the outer corner. And always you want the inner corner to be, you can see this is 90 degrees. They overlap better, especially if you're using 8 pieces, when you have the inner corner at 90 degrees. The outer corner can be any configuration at all. So when you assemble them, they go together very easily. Put them off to the side, start with 2, and I look at the parts that are going to overlap, and then I just put some glue on those parts, and I carefully line up my point with the other point, and then this edge here, let's see if we can get that a little bit closer. Point to the point, and then we line that up on the center line of the previous piece. And then we give it a little press. And we do the next one. So you'll see here, this last one is a good indicator of how well you have lined everything up. And this is pretty good. So I'll see it'll fit there. I know I've done a pretty good job, but again, it's not the end of the world. You can always adjust it a little bit if you have to. This one is gonna come up. Nope, we'll just leave it there. And then the last, very last one is going to go on top of this one and under this one. So I'll show that again. It's going to go on top of this one and under this one. So I do it in 2 steps. I go and I glue it on top, a little bit extra, of this one. So I maybe even fold that out of the way. Put that in there, goes right there. And then, see, that will fold over the top of it. Now here's where you can make up any errors. So if I put this flat down, you can see it's a little bit off there. So I'm just gonna slide it a little bit and press. And there we have our first star, which you'll get a better sense of how pretty it is when we get it in the window in just a moment. So here we are with our yellow star, same exact thing, and we have the same conditions where the inside and the outside are identical, so it doesn't really matter your inner and outer corner. So we'll just start. I'm going to test it. There's my line up the points. Now you can see here, oh, it's all crooked. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, it's all crooked here. I don't want that. I want to take this little line and I want to line it up with the center line of the previous piece, like that. Okay, so I can see here's where I'm going to put the glue. I put a little glue in there, got a little extra, smear it around, line it up, line up that line, and press it down and turn. So now we have our third set, our purple set, and we have the inner corner and the outer corner. So we're going to start by lining up the center point with the center point. I see this is much longer points, so there's not as much space to put the glue in, so I'm going to be prudent, make sure I've got enough glue out, and just a good solid swipe. Line it up and press. So here's our red one. You can see the geometry that happens in it with the light behind it. Little ones love to be able to create pretty stars to give to people. And our yellow one, a little fancier. You can see there's an inner geometry going on and an outer geometry going on. And you can see the purple star here. So beautiful, the light shining through it. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.